All right, it's not just baseball season, okay, folks? It is also still football season. I know we got our eyes on the Royals here this week. Certainly, Deion Clisso does got his Royals hat on, but we are here on Snap Tackle Pod to talk high school football in and around Kansas City. I'm Mick Schaefer of KSHB at KSHB today. This is our fancy, you like this is our fancy backdrop for our
I like that.
Zoom.
It's a good Zoom backdrop.
All
And a
right,
Union
Zoom back.
Station.
Good.
You can never go wrong with a Union Station.
No, you can't. No, that's a good spot there. And so we're heading into week six,
Hmm.
Dion, is that right? Week six of the high school football season. Week five on the kids side, week six on the Missouri side. Let's recap week five. Last week, what were some seems like a blur. So much football has happened between now and then. What were some of the surprising games for you last week?
Um, you know, I'm not surprised at Olathe North at this point because I think they're really young. But I think that was, a game that you saw Shawnee Mission East go there and get a win. I think Shawnee Mission East is a pretty good team.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, let's chalk up the Lancers to a surprise team this year and a team that can, I mean, do some things here in the playoffs.
yeah, that was a good win for them. They're one of my Remax Big Three games this week. So that's they've earned that right, and it was good. They were one last week as well, but no, good for them, and they've got Gardner Edgerton this week, and
Yeah,
that was another game that was closer or was probably closer than it looked. They scored a little late against Lawrence.
sure. Lawrence,
Um,
yeah.
so that was definitely one that was kind of interesting as well. So that's kind of a couple on the Kansas side. I think Baser DeSoto was as advertised, except it wasn't a shootout. It was a tough
Sure,
defensive battle,
right.
21-7.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
think we're kind of, it's almost not really a changing of a guard, but like different teams moving up here on the Kansas side. I like Shawnee East. They've got a head coach with a football pedigree that can't be matched,
mhm.
right? And you've got the flexbone offense that is hard to prepare for, and when run right, you can do a lot of things out there offensively. And yeah, I've liked what I've seen from Shawnee East so far this year. They're only 9 points away from being undefeated.
Yeah,
Open up the season at Lawrence Free State.
yeah, that definitely they're off to a good start. And you saw some on the Missouri side. You saw some chalk. At least some in North Handles, Blue Springs, Pius 64-0 over Chillicothe. That's an okay Chillicothe team. I mean,
Yeah,
Grain Valley rolls 47-0. The one that kind of stunned me was Fort Osage Oak Park, but Oak Park got healthy. And Fort Osage is not. Oak Park won that
yeah,
game 34-0. And I think that they kind of, Oak Park changed up what they did a little bit. They moved some D backs to receiver. Sophomore quarterback got going a little bit. So, that's a little different there. But that's the one I think that score stunned me more than necessarily that Oak Park won. I thought that was going to be a much closer game. But River Peppers, tailback for Fort Osage, re-injured hamstring. So he's on the sidelines. That changes when you take a dynamic running back like that off the field. It changes what you want to do.
yeah. Rockers Bishop Miege. The result doesn't surprise me. I mean, we've seen Miege. They're going through some stuff this year. They're still 0-4. Rockers is really good, but the score 20-3. I would have predicted maybe like 40-23, something like that.
I think that Miege is way better than their record looks, though. The statement is always "you are what your record says you are." But I think that they're getting better. They had to replace a lot on the offensive and defensive lines this year, so that was a good test for them. And Rockhurst is just kind of gone about its business. I don't think they're interested in style points.
They're not. You're
I
right.
mean,
Yeah.
I think they just want to get the win. They know that's a hard fought game. That's a tough game. It's a rivalry. It's become a pretty good rivalry in the last few years, and they've got some tough games coming up. They got Blue Springs. They should be fun. They got St. Thomas Aquinas. Aquinas is the one that is not surprising that they're winning, as they're dominating teams, and their defensive staff was
Yeah.
the DM injury law defensive staff of the week this week, and with some guy named Rampy who was really known
I
as an
talked to him a
offensive
couple weeks
genius.
ago out there. It's good. I'd forgotten he was over there. I was like kidding him and Dryling. I'm like, it's not fair to have both you guys on the same sideline. What are you doing?
No, I mean they've done a great job. I think that's. I mean, the rule was always don't let them get a couple touchdowns up on you because their offense is so tough to get off
Mhm.
the field. But you can't you're having a hard time scoring against them. Took a Blue Out Southwest team that was putting points on the board against Miege the week before and held them down to 10 points.
Yeah. No,
I
that's the
mean,
thing. If you put together defensively with them also in the flex bone, and they are a tough team to beat. Of course, coming off the state title last year as
mhm.
well. What's got two? Dryling's got two, I believe,
Yep,
at
two at
Aquinas
Aquinas.
now.
Is it eight
Um,
altogether or seven? I think it's
I
8.
think it's at least 8. Yeah,
I
it
think it was
feels like
6
it's
at
at
Hutch. I think it
least
was
8.
6 at
I would
Hutch.
start the guessing at 8.
Yeah. I think it was 8. I think it was 6 at Hutch and 2 at Aquinas. So
Yeah. Over to the Missouri side, a couple others. I mean, Platte County, good win over Belton.
yeah.
Kind of saw that come a lot of chalk, like you said. Liberty North, big win over Ray Peck and Lee Summit. Rivalry game, getting a win as well. So not too many surprises, I guess.
No, not too many surprises over there. Everybody kind of did what they needed to do leading into this week, but there's a lot of big games this week. A lot of
Yeah. Nobody
there's
looking past. Nobody in those trap games, I guess.
no nobody in those trap games. And I would say if you get a chance to go out to the site, Cole Young does a good job of kind of breaking down some of the bigger games that are out there this week and talking about just on both sides of the state line. It was kind of a good column idea for him from him this week, and it's a pretty good. In fact, the Shawnee he talked about the Shawnee Mission Northwest game with Olathe East, and he had a little it's just a little paragraph, a little snippet, like, "Hey, don't forget about this one. It's a good Shawnee Mission Northwest record is not they're 2-2, but that's a pretty good football team." And a parent from Shawnee Mission Northwest took that little snippet and used it as a Twitter hype for the game. And so Cole
Oh,
said
nice.
he said he made it. Somebody had taken some of his work and
He's made it,
he's made
and
it.
I agree. I mean, they're this far away, this close to being 3-1 with a win over Gardner,
Yeah,
and a loss to what might be one of the best, was definitely one of the best teams in 6A, maybe the best team in
Blue Valley
6A,
Northwest.
Blue Valley Northwest, and then a good win over Olathe North, and
And
then Mission West last week. So the rise of the Shawnee Mission schools this year, I like what
yeah,
I'm
they're a
seeing.
little bit better.
And Shawnee Mission North with a couple good performances. And so I've liked what I've seen so far.
Yeah, in fact, I talked to Clint Ryder for the radio show, and he talked about that game with Shawnee Mission Northwest. It was 38-7. He goes, but they were going in to score, which would have tied it, and they were getting the ball back. And he said, he goes, we got some things that rule our way. He goes, that's a good football team. You got
Right.
to be ready to go when you play them.
All right. Well, let's look ahead to this week's games, the Remax Big Three games of we got. You haven't told me yet. I want you to
No,
surprise me. Let's start on the Missouri side here. What's shaking there?
you want me to tell you the ones that didn't make the cut, and then you'll see how good these games are.
Yes, tell me the
Okay.
ones that didn't. I love this. Let's go. Didn't make the cut.
Um, Sneaky good one. University Academy, Summit Christian Academy. Two small schools.
Okay.
Good little
What are their
rivalry there
records right
across.
now?
You made me look those up. UA,
Well, I
I
saw
think,
it
is
was
3-2.
University played Kip last week, right, in a close game.
Yes.
I got it right here, baby.
You got it.
3-2 for University.
Yeah.
Uh, sorry, it was Pembroke Hill they played
Pembroke
last
Hill.
week
Yeah.
in a close game. Their two losses are really close: 6 to Pembroke Hill and by 4 to Kip.
Yeah. So yeah, those are good schools. That's a good game there. How about St. Joe Central Oak Park? That's a
And
good
3-2
game.
for.
Two pretty solid games there. How
Okay,
about
yes.
Liberty North Staley? Any other week of the year that might be a good game there. We're not even covering that game.
Not even
Uh,
covering. It's too good a slate, huh?
Park Hill Liberty.
Okay.
Park Hill Liberty, really good game there. Not covering that game, or we're covering that game. It's not a big three. So those are Harrisonville, Pleasant Hill. Pleasant Hill coming off a win over Warrensburg. You know,
Okay.
I mean that's a good game there and there. So let's go to the ones that did make the cut.
Who made the cut? Well, I know
Kearney
one.
and Grain Valley.
Kearney and Green Battle. That'll be a great one. Let's
And
go.
if
Let's
you
throw the ball. Let's run the ball.
really, if you want to come to Eastern Jackson County, you could do half at Kearney Grain Valley and then drive what is about 7 minutes up Double A Highway to Adams Dairy Parkway and watch Lee Summit North and Blue Springs South.
It's only 7 minutes away.
Yeah, I think
My geography in Eastern Jack gets a little wonky at times, so I'll take your
it
word for it.
probably
That's a
let's
great
say
idea.
that there's an El Maguey restaurant that's right just past Green Valley High School that I go get, and it takes me about 5 to 7 minutes to get to that. So I haven't done it. I haven't done the
Which game
trek.
should you go to first? Maybe it
I
depends
would
on
go
where
to
you live,
Great. I would go to. Yeah, it depends on where you live. I would
but
go to.
all
Well,
things equal, where would you go to first?
it depends on what your parking situation is. There's a ton more parking. There's going to be a lot of people, at least on the North and Blue Springs South, but there's a lot more parking there. So either you go to if you're going to go to Green Valley Kearney, you better get there early to get a parking
Which game
spot.
do you think has the best chance of just kind of going down to the wire? Because I know my answer.
At least on North Blue Springs South.
Yeah, I think that's my answer.
Yeah.
And no offense, Green Valley, Kearney's just been a there's been a
Yes.
machine.
Yeah. They've been a machine, and Green
Yeah.
Valley's. This has been the biggest test they'll have
Just
since Platte County.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a good test for them. So, yeah, those are two of the three, and then the third one is Platte County Smithville.
No, God, come on. Anytime you got the Platte County, Smithville, Kearney triumvirate,
Yes,
we got to be there.
yes. So, I mean,
Good week.
those are a good week there. I mean, even in some games where you have teams that aren't very good this year, you have
Yeah,
Lee Summit West and Ray Peck have one win between them, but that'll probably be a competitive game for those two teams.
yeah, yeah.
So there's plenty of good football out there to go watch. On the Missouri side and the Kansas side.
All right. So yeah, speaking of the Kansas side here, I'm excited to hear what's on tap for this. I know some of the games coming up.
Okay, here's ones that didn't make it.
I love this game.
Lewisburg at Eudora.
Oh, come on. Let's go. The Frontier League me, okay?
Yes, yes, a Eudora team that is playing very good football the last couple of weeks. Uh, they are 2-2, but Lewisburg is 4-0. How about
Let's
Shawnee
go.
Heights and DeSoto?
Shawnee Heights at DeSoto. That'll be a good one. Are
Um,
we claiming Shawnee Heights in the viewing area now?
they're part of the
Part of
United
that
Kansas
E
Conference.
and on
Yeah,
the east side of Topeka. I'll bring them in.
yeah, they're in
I love me some
the
T-Birds.
they're them and Topeka Seaman and Topeka Western in the UKC, and then Highland Park's in the Meadowlark League. So
Yeah. Well, bring over Highland Park too. We'll claim them.
um, St. Pius and St. James,
Oh yeah. Little cross. It
Aquinas
seems like every week now we got a good cross state game. And that's it for this week, huh?
Aquinas Miege
Yeah.
didn't make the
Enough
cut.
said right there.
Sumner Schlegel,
Okay. These are games we're not that
yeah,
aren't in
that
the
are
big
not.
three. Oh wow.
Here's one: Blair Oaks, the number one ranked team in Missouri
Yep.
Class Three, at Blue Valley
Yep.
Southwest.
Southwest. So a bigger school in Southwest, but a smaller school power in
Yes.
Missouri. I love it.
So the ones that did make it: Shawnee Mission East, Gardner Edgerton, one loss between
Yep.
the two of them. Olathe East, Shawnee Mission Northwest,
Love
4-0
that.
Olathe
Yeah.
East team.
That
And
yeah,
then,
you got two really good defenses, by the way, there in
yeah,
Northwest and Lake East.
and then Blue Valley Northwest against Blue Valley West, only one loss between the two of those. And
Hmm.
Blue Valley West is the only team to play within one score of St. Thomas
I'm
Aquinas.
Aquinas. Yeah, that was a close game in week
Yes,
one.
yes. So those are
And
your
wait, you
games.
didn't even wait a second. It's so good. You didn't even mention Mill Valley, Olathe North.
No, I
I mean, the
didn't.
Jags have never beaten Olathe North.
I think this might be the year.
No, don't say that. Let's say that. North is all, I mean, I've watched plenty of them this year. They send athletes running all over the place.
Yeah, they got athletes.
Uh,
They're just kind of young this year. They haven't really gelled yet. So
yeah.
no, it's a great week of football. Some of these games are going to determine seeding, and some are just great, games in conference. It could determine conference championships. If you look on the Missouri side, that the Green Valley Kearney game is a 4-5 matchup. So if you're Kearney, it gives you the chance to add to the point total. But
Hmm.
same thing's going on at Smithville, the team that's right behind you. They're playing a Class 5 team as well. I think Blue Spring South, Lee Summit North. I think Blue Spring South. This is their kind of where are they at game. They took
Sure.
Liberty North to the end. And Liberty North's lost a couple games since then, but Blue Spring South has not had anyone
I, I
come close.
I think this. What do you think about that? I mean, if it's close or obviously Blue Spring South wins, I think there's three teams to watch out for on the Missouri side in Kansas City in the big class, right? And it'd be those two and Rockhurst.
Yeah, Lee Summit
Is
and Liberty,
this the
Lee
game
Summit and
where we see,
Liberty.
okay, is it going to be a big three or a big two?
Well, I think you would probably bring in Blue Spring South in the Big Three if they get that win, and then right behind
Oh,
those three is Lee Summit and Liberty.
so you think they
And
can be
South
up there
gets
with the
and South
Rockhurst
gets
and Lee Summit
South
North?
gets well South gets Liberty next week. I don't know if Liberty is in Liberty. I think Blue Spring South. If I'd say right now of those
Because Blue
three,
Spring South handled Lee Summit, right?
yeah, they handled Lee Summit. They had Liberty North beat in that game and kind of gave it away at the end. And I think that's week one, so that's a young team maybe. And I don't know if they'd won that game if they'd be playing as well as they are now. They've been pretty focused since that game.
Yeah.
And then Lee Summit, they beat Liberty North. Those are probably the next three. And it's like if you think that Rockhurst and Lee Summit North are probably gonna be the 1 and 2 seed in that district, they probably are.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to beat a Lee Summit to get out of that district. One of them, one of those teams is gonna have to beat two of those teams, of those three teams. You're gonna have to beat those teams to get out. And if you're Blue Springs or Blue Springs South, you're probably gonna have to beat. You hope you only have to beat one of Liberty or Liberty North.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You want to be in that one seed. If you're any of those three teams, you want that one seed. So you're only playing those teams one, you're only playing one of those teams. You want those other teams to take each other out, and you're only playing one team there. So it's kind of funny because last year Blue Springs South was 1-9. Their only win was against Blue Springs, which bought them Liberty as the 3 seed in their district. And Blue Springs
Uh,
got Truman as the 4-5 game in that district. So, you know, they got an easier game, and they were both out the same round. That's the thing. It's like you could be a 4 seed in a district and get another win, whereas you're 2-3, you're sitting in that 2-3 spot. You're kind of those are good spots, but I mean it's tough
yeah.
because then you got to play the one probably in that second round. You got to beat 2 of them. That's why the 1 seed means something in these smaller districts, especially when you kind of top heavy with the top 3.
Yeah. Let's throw out some Simone Award candidates here, like we always do. They're up to date, right? Looking
Yep,
at them
stats are
here.
up on Tuesday nights.
4 games through Kansas, 5 through Missouri. Check out prepskc.com. Click on the like halfway down the blue link there, and it'll
Yep.
take you right to the stats. Man, Banks Bowen. It's funny over on the Kansas side. There's three. You got 3 quarterbacks still averaging over 300 yards a game. How
Yes.
crazy is that? Well, there's only 5 total on the Kansas side over 200 yards a game, right? I mean, in high school football, over 200 yards is a great game. You got 3 of these guys over 300 yards. One's Banks Bowen, the other's Marco Rodriguez.
Yeah. No, those guys are off to good starts, and Banks also is up there in the rushing charts as well. And
Yeah, we're gonna get to you on the rushing side.
on the Missouri side, you've got Rocco Marriott. It's probably the bigger name. He's at 1,000 yards too. He's averaging over 200 yards passing. But Banks and Marco are 2 guys to take a look at. And
Oh, and tell me what about the kid from we have the kid from Lee Summit and the kid from Park Hill, Lehman
yeah,
and Thomas, who a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns so
yeah, a lot
far.
of yards, a lot of touchdowns. And I know that Laban's done a good job of finding those receivers. He's got good receivers to throw to. So we'll see with that. But no, Hudson Bailey also at St. Pius. The question, his poor Hudson, he's not going to play second half of a lot of games, if
Hmm.
any. This might be the last week he
And he
plays the
was
second
the
half.
Fontana Award winner,
The
right,
Fontana
last
Award
year.
winner, and now they're up in Class 5. So
And he's just a junior.
yeah,
Oh, that's right. So he'll be only up for the Simone, correct?
yes.
Yeah, by being in class 5.
So and you look at some tailbacks out there. You've got of course Cal Arndt and Reggie Reese over on the Kansas side.
Reggie, my guy, still over 200 yards rushing game, 213.
And then Jackson Hicks passed up Robert Palmer this last week.
Yeah,
So that's for Liberty. Jackson
he
Hicks
must have had a huge game this
he had a
week.
huge game this last week because he caught past.
Holy.
He probably had close to. He was right under. He probably had close to 300 yards last week because he was just
I
under.
think it would have had to jump that much. Plus, also 16 touchdowns through 5 games, over 3 touchdowns per game, over 10 yards per carry.
The
For
South Twins separated themselves just a little bit.
I saw that. I was watching.
Carries are about the same, but
Kendrick
Kendrick
had a
pulled
better
away a
game
little.
than Darius.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely what you don't see is that right under this list of like 21, 22 is Aiden Wilhelm, the quarterback, has got about 250 yards rushing
Oh
for
wow.
Blue Spring South as well. But no, it's a good it's a good group of guys out there, and you got some guys like a Dawson Merritt or who's the other linebacker from I'm blanking on the other linebacker from Blue Valley.
Oh, Richmond, I
Mason
believe.
Richmond,
McGuire Richmond.
McGuire Richmond, yeah,
And,
who
and then
does
you have
it.
the speedy kid on the D line. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, those guys are all Buchanan type guys, but if you like a defensive guy, now I know that's a different thing. But no, it's our elite article this week that's coming out. It'll be out before this is out. So is on wide receivers. And so you look at some of
Yeah.
those guys that are out there, and you've got some good ones. The Miege kid Ballard has done well. Quinn Myers from. I mean, we didn't talk about Tate Nagy in terms of Simone. Parker
Nagy
Chase.
seems like, I mean, seems like a guy it's at least this year. It's not going to be about stats, right? He's going to make plays,
Hmm.
and he's kind of more half run, half passed, where neither side's going to pop out. Like Banks Bowen is, by my count, he leads the city in passing and is 10th in rushing.
Yeah.
So nice numbers so
Yeah.
far there.
He's halfway to 1,000 in 4 games in rushing.
Wow,
In
rushing,
rushing.
and then already well over 1,000, like 1,200 in passing.
Yeah. So now the receiving for our McCarthy elite team, you talk about the Braden Lehman from Lee Summit. Karsten Fine from Lee Summit and Peyton Hatfield from Lee Summit, within 18 yards of each other. So they've got two of the top three guys on the Missouri side are Lee Summit guys. So then you got Larry Porter at Raytown, who's averaging 139 yards a game. He's got 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Raytown's got some players, and they are an improved team this year. They may not get as many wins as they will because their schedule will keep them down a little bit, but that's a pretty competitive team. And I've
Yeah.
talked to some coaches who've seen them on film and said they are a team that got some size, they got some athletes, and they're more disciplined this year and doing some good things. So no, it's definitely a team that has got some players, and you talk about just different receivers out there. The the Lewisburg kid, Miles Bowles, Parker Chase, and then the two, Gabe Weingart is one from Lawrence. I think a lot of people are talking about as well. Then also Jackson Becker. When you're throwing for 1,200 yards, you got to have a couple guys with
You got
three,
somebody, right?
yeah, somebody gets the ball. So yeah, it's an interesting group of players out
It's
there. And
funny. You look at the stats here. The top passers usually have a top receiver on that side, and those teams are usually nowhere near the top with rushers, right?
yeah,
You have the teams that are spread all out, throwing all over the place. You have the other teams that run the ball about 85% of the time.
yeah, no, it's interesting because you talk about teams like a team like Kearney still wants to run the ball about 70% of the time, but then when they hit you with big plays. So their
Yeah.
guys are going to put up some numbers offensively as well. So no, we're getting there. It's still way wide open for Simone and our elite team. So it's definitely going to be fun down the stretch. So it's fun to be talking about football during baseball season. It's great.
I know, right? We sneak in a little football here. Tell me about that McCarthy Elite team that you have you're going to put together.
Well, we've been doing each position group the last few weeks. We started with quarterbacks, then we went D line, came back and did running backs. Last week we did linebackers. There's videos on our YouTube channel and of course articles on our thing. Where we kind of highlight some guys, and we've highlighted generally, I think 6 or 7 quarterbacks. I think we did highlight it. We talk about it a lot more on the podcast because it's not having to physically write down and do that. But
Hmm.
we did about 10 on defensive line and linebackers, and about 10 or 12 on the running backs, and just some names out there too, because I put some names out there just so people can go and reference our other stuff. And you want to get out there if you're just a regular human being, you can still get on and look at huddle film. There's nothing stopping you. Search and look, you can see kids, do some stuff, and which is fun because when I see somebody doing some, good things, you want to see what
Yeah.
they look like. Because look, you're going to find, you're going to find and see some stuff that, you may have a tailback who's put up a lot of yards. Well, he's running through holes the size of semis,
Yeah.
and then you go, oh, well, maybe there's an offensive lineman here that we need to take a look at. But
Right.
it's going to be an exclusive group. There's only going to be 5 offensive linemen, 4 defensive linemen, um, 4 linebackers, 4 D backs, 3 running backs, 3 receivers, or tight end in that group right there. One quarterback,
One quarterback.
one quarterback.
The elite of
Um,
the elite.
Kicker, punter, returner, long snapper,
One returner. We got kickoff and punt.
one returner.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that I don't know if he's going to make it, but he's already returned like 3 kicks. Is Cameron Fields
Oh
from
yeah.
Washington.
Yeah. He's got a nice season.
He's got a nice season, and he's got a coach who is very good about putting out their highlights on Saturday nights and Sundays with
Always
some
helps.
great. He's a journalism teacher, so he's got a little they're teaching
Yeah.
video and stuff like there. But Coach Cam Smith at Washington, he does a good job of advocating for his kids, and I think that's fantastic. That's not every coach's deal, and I'm not asking everybody to do that, but he does
Yeah.
a good job of advocating for his kids, and he's done these little weekly highlight videos where he kind of describes them, and they've got some good highlights, and they put some good plays out there. So no, it's fun, and that's kind of been something I've tried to look at a little more this year as we broaden to do this team. Is when I'm on Twitter and I see that, I want to go and look and see as much of that as I can to get my eyes on as much as I can
Hmm.
and take advantage of that because sometimes it's a kid putting something out there. Like Karsten Fine from Lee Summit, that was our highlight of the week. Was a Twitter video, an end zone shot of him basically this over his shoulder with 2 guys on top of him. A throw from Brandon Lehman for Lee Summit last week. It was a great catch. It was an unbelievable catch, and he's got big numbers along with Hatfield, those 2 receivers from Lee Summit. So it's fun. It's looking at it. I've done all area team type stuff in the past. When I was the examiner and things like that, and we've done a couple all Metros, a second team like that. But when we decided to do this and make it just one team and make it tough, and I'm gonna tell you right now, we all totally understand when this thing comes out that is not going to be universally loved.
Right. You know what
And
you're getting into.
we know yeah, I know exactly what we're getting into. But when we went into this, we said we're going to try and do the best we can. We're going to take this seriously. It's not about stars next to your name, because I could tell you right now that I've talked to a couple different coaches about a guy who was playing in Kansas City last year, who was as highly rated as the players we've had. And I had a coach tell me, say, he only went hard about 30% of the time. Now, when he went hard, he was better than anybody else out there. But he was, not going hard 70% of the time.
Right.
That's not getting you on this team. Now,
Yeah.
that might get you an NIL deal and a spot on a roster in an SEC team, but that's not getting you on the elite team. You got to put it in
Right.
on Friday nights.
Yeah. Nice. All right, Dion, that's all I got. You got anything else besides Go Royals?
Hopefully, we're talking about division series next week, and hoping that we're recording this maybe before a game next Wednesday out at the K.
Yeah, would I be back from New York? Yeah, I would be. But yeah, no, I'm hoping to miss the Mill Valley Gardner or Mill Valley all the way to North game, I guess. Not
Yeah,
really hoping to, but it's good news for the Royals if I am heading
I
to it.
will say that the Royals had one casualty yesterday. My son was supposed to be in line to race the backstroke, and he thought he had more time, and he ran into the other room and watched the game and missed his race. So he,
Seriously.
yes, seriously, after he was told not to move from the pool deck because he was doing three races in a row, and it was like the eighth inning, and so he ran over there and thought he had time, and he missed
They
it.
had the game on in another room right by the pool.
Well, the pool at Blue Spring South is the pool and then the weight room. It's the old
Yeah,
YMCA, and it had like the weight room has like eight 60-inch TVs in there. They had it on all the TVs.
right.
So not to say that the swimming coach didn't have it on his phone and we weren't checking it there, but so he is as we speak probably swimming a little extra today for missing his race.
You gotta be focused, especially you're in the water. You gotta
Yeah,
focus, right?
I asked the coach when he came back. I said, "Do you want to talk to him, or do you want me to go talk to him?" He's like, "I got it," because he probably figured I was going to he'd be at the bottom of the pool by the time I
Yeah.
got done with
I
it.
mean, you can both talk to him, get the point
Yeah,
across twice.
yeah. So it's a learning experience. As one football coach told me today, that all freshmen heads are permanently implanted in another part of their body, and that's
I can guess where.
standard issue freshman ed. You've had now two go through that level. I'm sure you could agree that 14 is
Not
a
just not just freshman year, baby.
well,
Not just
thanks.
freshman
And
year.
I'm hoping it'll
Yeah.
get better soon. But no,
Uh,
go Royals, and let's
Go Royals are starting up when we're taping this right about
yep,
now, so we're gonna
yep,
get
right
out of
about
here.
now. We're
Yeah,
getting
for
done.
Dion, I'm Mick. We'll see you next time on Snap Tackle Pod.